According to past studies, bad sewer systems run extremely close to water lines, and it's possible for sewage to get into drinking water. Because of that, environmentalists have said Vida residents could be subject to disease. A mayor and 2 city councilmen lost their jobs because their attempts to solve the serious problem didn't have citizens' approval first. Well, meeting last night, a new mayor and some new city councilmen took a shot at solving the problem.
The city council in the Orange County Water District met, and in the session they agreed upon the water district taking over the grant and everything and be the manager for the city on it. They'll come up with a plan that the people can vote on, and then the issue will be resolved one way or the other, and then we'll negotiate further as to the next step to be made in the water and sewer district problem.
Compared to the last time an attempt was made at solving the problem, the people will have some input before any type of decision is made this time?
They'll know pretty well what the monthly rate will be before they ever vote on it.
It should be about a month before the studies actually begin. From Vida, Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
Around 1:30 this afternoon at 1034 Oregon, police were dispatched to a family disturbance in progress. When they arrived, police determined that there was a man and his wife in the house and their 2-year-old daughter. Police say the man had at least one weapon. Lieutenant Bruce Thomason explains what took place at that point.
During the disturbance, he indicated that he wanted to let the little girl come out of the house. Officers told him that would be fine to send the girl on out. At that point, the woman and the little girl came out of the house and started to run. The man stepped out the door and started firing at the woman. The woman was hit at least once at that point. Then the officers returned fire after he also fired at them. At least 2 officers fired at him. He was hit twice, as far as I know. He was wearing a bulletproof vest.
Police shot the man in the right thigh and right elbow. The man's wife was shot through the chest. The little girl was also shot in the chest and chin. The 2-year-old girl is in St. Elizabeth's Hospital. She has been admitted to the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit and is listed in stable condition. The woman, 32 years of age, has been admitted to intensive care in stable condition. Her husband has also been admitted to St. Elizabeth Hospital. Police have no motive, but say the man and woman were in the process of getting a divorce. Terry Elliott, Channel 6 News.
Previously, if you had an Orange County ambulance transport you to Galveston or Houston, the base mileage rate would be $270. Effective next Monday, that same trip will cost you $390. The Board of Directors voted to raise the base mileage charge from $250 per mile to $350 per mile. The $1 increase comes after a survey of other ambulance operations, and Director Terry Fontenot explains why.
We had with our mileage charge that we charge patients on out-of-county trips was very, very low compared to the other ambulance services. All theirs was, average was about $210. And we felt like it was time that we went ahead and raised our mileage charge for out-of-county rates, basically because that's a one-way trip that the patient is charged for. But that's a two-way expense to the ambulance service. We have an expense that's going over there and coming back, but the patient only gets charged a one-way trip for that. So we felt like that was needed to do just to help cover our expenses.
From Orange, Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
Will Griffin Park's water services be cut off when a contract with Port Arthur expires in 1982? Well, Griffin Park filed a suit against Port Arthur, claiming they're being discriminated against. And Port Arthur claims their sewer system simply cannot handle Griffin Park anymore. And they've repeatedly warned Griffin Park that service will end next year. In the meantime, Griffin Park says it's impossible to set up their own water system for 2,000 residents. They're concerned about Port Arthur's threat to cut off their water services.
When Griffin Park refused to go in with them this last election, then I think it hurt their ego. So they just said, well, we'll cut your water and sewer off when your contract expires, which is in March of next year.
I know the people in Griffin Park want to be independent of Port Arthur. Are they worried now?
Well, the people of Griffin Park are worried, naturally, that they will be cut off, but they're all of the opinion that the government will not let them cut sewerage, especially, or water off from their supply out there, and I believe that is true.
All that's left now is to wait for Judge Thomas's decision, and either way, Griffin Park feels secure, because Port Arthur's water services will either continue, or Griffin Park can always look to other area communities for help. Leslie Brinkley, Channel 6 News. The cheers they learn now will be the ones you see at area football games this fall. 200 cheerleaders hail from as far away as San Antonio and Louisiana. And they all seem to like the hard work, the chance to meet new people, and the way this camp will help out their cheering squad.
I'm here because it makes you, okay, if you're not real good in cheerleading, it builds up your muscles, and it makes you stand straighter, and it's real good for you.
The camp started last Sunday and will run through Thursday. Most of the girls are staying in dorms at Lamar, but the instructors travel across Texas during the summer from the Dallas-based National Cheerleaders Association.
The only thing is, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4.
And with a little music, the spirit today led to a celebration.
When the Vidor Volunteer Fire Department arrived at 5925 Porty in North Vidor, the Packard home was in flames. That was around 1:30 this morning. At 7 o'clock, Vidor firemen, along with about 5 or 6 Bridge City firemen, finally had all flames extinguished. It took firefighters that long to put flames out because they kept running out of water. We talked with the oldest of the 11 Packard children, Steve Packard, about what he saw when his mother woke him up.
I saw Mama, and it was smoky. And I made it outside and I ran around, and this part right here was the only part in flames, this area, general area. But the rest of the house was pretty well up in smoke. And it just got denser. It wasn't quite as dense at first, but it didn't take long for it to get pretty rough. By the time the firemen came, which didn't take that long, the firemen started to go in. He felt around, and he could tell it was all over.
Steve then told us about the last they saw of their 8-year-old sister, Rochelle Packard.
My brother Dan, he was... He could see something over there, and he's saying, Rochelle, come here, the window's over here, come to this window. And she was over by the door, which is on this side, and she says, I can't, and that's when she passed out.
Steve said his sister was found dead in a chair near a stairwell. Some of you may remember having seen Rochelle and her sister Rebecca in a PM magazine story done earlier this February. Rochelle was a promising pianist. She and her sister Rebecca performed duets. Rochelle's father, Bernard Packard, tried at least twice to find Rochelle in the burning house, but was overcome by smoke. Mr. Packard has been admitted to St. Elizabeth Hospital for smoke inhalation and is reported in stable condition. At this point, it appears it may have been a gas leak in a utility room that caused the fire. A repairman had been to the home yesterday to check for gas leaks that could be smelled by members of the Packard family. Terry Elliott, Channel 6 News.
Today's special meeting of the Hardin County Commissioners began at 10 o'clock, where the commissioners immediately adjourned into a closed-door executive session, an executive session that lasted until 2:45. After more than 4 hours of deliberation, the only information released today concerned the amount of funds unaccounted for in Hardin County. Outside auditors have studied county record books dating back to 1977 to to determine how much money was missing.
$69,895.20 in fines and court costs. The matter of restitution is still being investigated. These funds could result in bookkeeping errors, lack of information, or could still be owed by defendants. All information concerning this audit will be handed to Sheriff Mike Holzapfel for possible criminal investigation.
We're going to try to catch the people that took whatever amount of money is missing and bring them to justice.
Embezzlement of the funds could be a possibility. So who's a suspect? According to the sheriff, anyone with access to the county attorney's office. Today's disclosure was the first step in finding out exactly what happened to $70,000 that's supposed to be in Hardin County's coffers. Leslie Brinkley, Channel 6 News.
As far as our
You know, summertime is almost officially here. And for most people, that means it's time to gather up the family and go outdoors for things like picnics, barbecues, and a chance to take the kids to the park and let them play. But here at the Ida Reed Park, located just off Interstate 10 East here in the city of Beaumont, there's really no reason to bring the kids because there's not a whole lot left for them to do. At first glance, the city park looks like the victim of a tornado, but a closer observation shows that the damage resulted from fallen trees. A next-door neighbor to the park explains what happened when city crews cut the trees yesterday.
The first one was a pine stump down there that cut, and it fell directly across the street. Then they cut down the second one by the backstop on the softball field. Part of that backstop was already gone, but the tree did hit one corner of the backstop. Then they came over and cut the one by the swings and hit it directly in the center, and you can see it's completely torn up. It has to be replaced from one end to the other. Then they had one more dead tree, and fortunately they cut it to where it fell and missed the seesaws. So we have seesaws left in the park, plus a basketball goal.
The park sign is also missing because last week city crews broke the park signpost, but today it had been replaced. Today, as surprised visitors came to the park, they told us enough is enough.
I think it's bad.
There ought to be at least trained, you know, to come out here to do something instead of tearing the park up.
Need to have some kind of discipline problem. I mean, some discipline action on things like this that happen.
Tonight on The Update, we'll talk to city officials and find out what action will be taken. In Beaumont, Keith Elkins, Channel 6 News.
Yesterday, the Hardin County Commissioners announced that nearly $70,000 was missing in county funds. Today, the Sheriff's Office announced that they have one suspect in mind and that this one person may have taken most of that money.
At this time, we only have one suspect, and I have no other evidence or reason to believe that anyone else is involved. The excessive amount of money would make someone believe there's more than one person involved.
$70,000 is missing. How much of that amount might actually be stolen?
I don't know. It could be $50,000.
Another investigator may be brought in to assist the prosecutor, Andy Shuval of the State Prosecutors Coordinating Council. The suspect's name has not been released, but the suspect has taken a lie detector test and, according to the sheriff, is cooperative. The sheriff expects the investigation to take around 30 days, and right now he believes that whatever evidence is gathered will be turned over to a grand jury. From Hardin County, Leslie Brinkley, Channel 6 News.
It surprised me somewhat. I'd heard the rumor last week that Governor Clements was considering seriously vetoing the Senate redistricting bill. What surprises me about it is that a Republican governor would veto a bill and place into the hands of 5 elected Democratic officials the task of drawing another one that he has no veto power over.
Masterminds are financing billions of dollars of illegal drug traffic across Texas' vast coastline and its border with Mexico. Criminal District Judge Larry Gist agrees that wiretapping will help deter the illegal traffic, but the safeguards built into it to protect the privacy of law-abiding citizens may make it virtually useless.
The bill basically, Barbara, requires that only 9 judges in Texas 9 district judges can authorize it. The judge cannot authorize it until the local law enforcement authorities first convince the director of the Department of Public Safety, who is the only person authorized under the Act to have the equipment, that it is necessary and that they have to furnish affidavits and other proof to him. Once he is convinced that it should be done, then a motion is made to one of those 9 judges to authorize it. The application for the wiretap has got to certify that the person is a suspected dealer in narcotics, not in any other type of criminal activity, and it must certify that there is no other reasonable way to apprehend this person other than to tap his phone. Those are 2 very restrictive facets of the bill as I view it.
If one of the 9 judges named to authorize wiretaps denies its use, he is then required to, in essence, warn the alleged criminal.
If, in fact, the person is a narcotics trafficker, he's going to be officially notified by the judge 3 months later that law enforcement officers suspect him of doing that. And whether the request is granted or turned down, he would know that the officers are very close and therefore be able to shut down his operation or adjust his techniques in some way.
Even when wiretapping is finally used on a big drug case, Judge Gist doesn't think that the kingpins will be caught with it, simply because those who mastermind drug trafficking won't do their financing by phone. Barbara Bedrick, Channel 6 News.
According to Beaumont Park Superintendent Louis Hillpole, this swing set was destroyed because a city maintenance worker made a mistake.
The employee that was responsible for cutting these trees down made a mistake. It's about that simple. He attempted to cut this tree that hit the piece of playground equipment in an area where it was already starting to deteriorate internally, and when it did come down, it twisted on him and then fell on top of the swing set.
I mean, is this going to be a big cost to the taxpayer? It seems to be everybody's concern is how much is this going to cost? Why did it happen? Why couldn't it be avoided?
Right. Okay, we'll attempt, first of all, to prevent this from happening again, that's for sure. It's been checked into, and the man has been talked to about it. But cost-wise, no. We have this material at Terrell Park right now. We've removed some playground equipment from 3 different parks, and this will be replaced at no additional cost. There won't be much cost except a labor cost involved.
Hillpole says his work crews are not experts at tree cutting. Instead, they're described as jacks of all trades. That's because there are only 46 men to maintain approximately 1,000 acres of city parks. He also told us the city probably made a mistake by rushing the job.
I believe more than anything what's happened here is that we attempted to do it perhaps too quickly, and because we felt it was a hazard to the public, and we attempted to get trees down too quickly. They were more interested in getting them down fast than maybe doing it properly. And again, that's going to be checked into. And in 8 years, taking down the number of trees we've taken down, we've got a pretty good record in regard to hitting anything. This is the first piece of equipment or anything that we've struck with a tree that I know of.
Tomorrow, workers will go back to the Ida Reed Park to finish trimming and hauling off the dead trees. And Hillpole says repairs to the damaged playground equipment should be completed by the end of the month. In Beaumont, Keith Elkins, Channel 6 News. Since talks broke down between the Federal Aviation Administration and the Professional Air Traffic Controllers Organization, air traffic controllers may go on strike Monday morning. PATCO Union has demanded a minimum wage increase of $10,000 a year for controllers. If union demands are not met, it could mean millions of dollars to airlines and a drastic cut in flights for their customers. At Jefferson County Airport, plans have been drawn in case air traffic controllers walk out.
Our supervisors are all current and qualified on the positions, and they would be operating the radar as normal operations. And also there's a possibility that there's people from other places that would be available in the event that we needed them.
Edwards added that air traffic in our area will be less affected than in the major city airports like Houston and Dallas. We also talked with representatives of both commuter airlines at Jefferson County Airport about the effects of a possible air traffic controller strike. Don Kay of Air Texana explains that their airplanes will have to fly under visual flight rules if a strike takes place. Flying by visual rules means that bad weather could keep Air Texana from flying into other airports.
If we cannot get to our destination, we're going to turn around and come back to Beaumont, or if there is a field nearby where these people want to go, we'll drop them off there, places we can get into. But we cannot guarantee any passenger that we're going to get them to the destination based on these new rules.
Okay, so in your estimation, that would hurt business for Air Texana?
Well, definitely, because we will have to refund the money if we bring them back to Beaumont.
There are no representatives for Metro Airlines locally, but in Houston, Metro spokesperson Bob Soltis says Metro is planning to operate Monday morning as scheduled. Until then, it will be a wait-and-see game. Terry Elliott, Channel 6 News.
The Justice Department is going ahead and appealing an earlier district court decision that had ruled in favor of Port Arthur and would have prevented Port Arthur from having to instigate any further desegregation measures. Port Arthur's disappointed in that move to appeal, but they're also very optimistic in that both parties are still very willing to talk.
The Justice Department has not agreed 100% with our position. They have a position and we have one considering with regards to our problem, and at least they are discussing it with us and talking with us about it, which I think is a positive thing. Well, a formal appeal is going to be made immediately. It has to be made because there's a deadline, I think, of about the next week or 10 days as far as the Justice Department is concerned. Now, as to how long we'll continue as long as they want to talk.
Officials from the Port Arthur Independent School District have already traveled to Washington, D.C. on 2 different occasions to meet with members of the Justice Department. This time, though, Port Arthur officials are asking the Justice Department to travel here to Port Arthur and meet directly with school board members. And they're hoping that the Justice Department will accept their invitation as early as next week. And they're also hoping to reach some sort of agreement on the desegregation controversy. From Port Arthur, Leslie Brinkley, Channel 6 News.
June 19, 1865, General Gordon Granger came here to Galveston Island to enforce the presidential order calling for the freedom of all black Texans. It was here at Ashton Villa that he read President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, and the first Juneteenth celebration began. 1981, the second year that Juneteenth is officially celebrated as a Texas holiday, the ceremonies also began here at Ashton Villa.
May this, our Father celebration, become, our Father, to these thy people, as a Passover was to the Hebrew.
Along with Galveston Mayor E. Gus Manuel and other local dignitaries, State Representative Al Edwards was on hand. Edwards was initially responsible for having June 19th made a state holiday 2 years ago and was successful in having the date kept on the list of state holidays during the recent legislative session, although it had been taken off.
The meaning should be that we too are responsible for the growth of this state. We're responsible for civic activities and duties and responsibilities. We are not a group that's lost somewhere on the side.
Prior to an Emancipation Proclamation reenactment and other events, NAACP Executive Director Dr. Benjamin Hooks spoke in Galveston.
That we're able to do anything that's come to demand, and all we ask for is a chance, and if you give it to us, we're going to use it, and we're going to use it well.
The people are informed that, in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free.
There were numerous other events going on to celebrate Juneteenth, but officials here say it should be viewed as more than just a celebration. It should be viewed as a unifying effort that will make Texas and the United States a better place to live for both black and white. From Galveston Island, Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
The Budget and Better Management of Government Operations highlighted Congressman Jack Brooks' keynote address this morning to over 100 engineers. All are members of the Texas Society for Professional Engineers, holding their 45th annual convention in Beaumont this weekend. When it comes to budget cuts, Congressman Brooks warned that all of us must take our fair share of the lumps.
Nothing would disturb that faster than a feeling that there's some sacred cows out there who are untouchable. And if the tax-cutting program disproportionately rewards a small, select segment of the population, it will lose the support and the momentum that it now enjoys. Now, these budget and tax issues are certain to have an effect on the private citizens and on you as members of the engineering profession. A central purpose of the federal government's economic program is to revitalize the business community, to encourage industrial activity, and to improve productivity. If these goals can be achieved, professional engineers are certain to benefit.
The congressman brought up one federal act that engineers could help keep in existence, that of the Brooks A&E Law, the legislation that controls procurement of architects and engineers. The act reflects Congress' recognition that engineering services are professional and require a unique selection system so that the most skilled and qualified engineer will do federal work. The bill has stood the test of time since its enactment in '72, but 70% of the present House members were not in Congress then, and he urged the engineers to communicate the benefits of the system to those members of Congress. Barbara Bedrick, Channel 6 News.
The management of this country, job opportunities for people in this.
It'll be a good thing for him to do, and it'll be fun for him. You want to vote and say, I tried to get... Well, I kind of was sympathetic to the Iraqis. I didn't mind if they built them a nuclear plant over there to produce power. At least they jumped on that nut, I tell you, the Khomeini. You know, I was kind of sympathetic to the Iraqis. I thought they, you know, they weren't very friendly to us, but they were jumping on our enemies. And I kind of appreciated it. I was glad they kicked him around. I wish they'd kicked him around a little more. So I was kind of sorry that the Israelis felt that they had to go and bomb them. And just to arbitrarily go and bomb people isn't really such a good idea. It can get you in trouble. I think it was a dangerous move. And I didn't think it was the brightest political move for Begin while he's running for president over there in Israel to go bomb another country. Didn't think that was really the way to go.
Is it kind of a split opinion?
Basically, the regulation means that if the city of Beaumont passed a zoning ordinance allowing this apartment complex to be built, they would also have to guarantee that a number of units would be set aside for the handicapped. If they don't, and the Office of General Revenue Sharing received a valid complaint, then the city of Beaumont could lose its revenue sharing money or have it suspended until the situation is corrected. Beaumont Councilman Tom Combs says the regulation was a bureaucratic decision and not a congressional mandate.
danger in what was proposed is this would potentially affect private projects and a great many other things that really the bulk of the handicapped people might have no interest in or be of no benefit to them. It would only mean an additional regulation, a possible slowdown of a project, as well as the resulting impact of the revenue sharing funds.
While in Washington talking with Vice President George Bush, Combs brought up the regulation and stated his fears if it was implemented. He received word yesterday that the regulation had been suspended indefinitely so that the Reagan administration can take a closer look at it. Despite the regulation being suspended, Combs says the city of Beaumont still looks after the needs of the handicapped.
Certainly in all publicly funded facilities and under federal mandates, there are provisions made for the handicapped as far as access, parking, and these types of things.
Ed Ivey, Channel 6 News.
There is good news for motorists in the state of Texas. A statewide survey indicates Texas gasoline prices are at their lowest level since February. With prices dropping as much as 2.2 cents a gallon during the past month, Larry McIntyre says these are prices we can get used to.
I think they're going to continue to drop because there's plenty of fuel to be had, and especially in Texas they have it. I mean, there are no allocations for fuel or nothing yet. And also, due to so many compact cars, I believe this here is going to bring the fuel prices down.
Local motorists seem to think gasoline prices have reached their height, but most local motorists have to depend on automobiles for their travel, whether it be locally or abroad, and say these prices won't affect their travel much.
I travel a whole bunch, and gas prices can go up and down. It's not going to bother me a whole lot.
The most dramatic change seen in this survey of 352 service stations is the difference between full service and self-service pump prices, which is now at an average of 10 cents a gallon compared with only 4 cents a gallon last June. For those who plan to travel for the 4th of July weekend, it should be excellent in that nearly 80% of the surveyed stations reported they will be operating on Friday, Saturday night, and Sunday. From Beaumont, Fred Harris, reporting for Channel 6 News.
Three Boy Scouts were wading in the Nature's River this morning at a place known as the Lakeview Sandbar near Vidor. Suddenly, one of the boys, a 13-year-old from Vidor, went under. The Vidor Volunteer Fire Department was called out and the search began. Vidor Fire Chief Dub Davis says the boy probably stepped off into a hole.
I understand at this point of the river there's a sandbar that extends out pretty far.
It extends out pretty far, but it breaks off and then you just step off of it. Like right here, there's a deep hole there where you can go off the end of it, and that's probably where he got in trouble because I understand the boy could not swim.
Volunteers searched the river for most of the day, battling swift currents in an attempt to recover the boy's body. Chief Davis says this is the second drowning in the same place in less than a 1-month period. When asked if the place would be closed to swimmers, he replied, "I doubt it." Ed Ivey, Channel 6 News.
Dane Dawson has been making knives and knife tools for 6 years. Originally from Alabama, Dawson now lives in Montgomery, Texas with his brother. Together, they make 100 different kinds of knives, from fold-outs all the way up to this $2,000 dagger.
Just was making them for friends and everything. We moved out in Texas. People wanted to buy them, so we started selling them. This is knife country around here.
The Dawsons' only business is custom knife making. Each knife must be carefully crafted from various domestic and imported steels and woods. Altogether, it takes 30 hours to build a fold-out knife. Of the many knives the Dawsons had on display, this dagger stood out, but we wondered why someone would want it.
But I sold one set to a fellow in the special services, and he's going to use them overseas in Asia. He's going to made special sheets for them. He's going to carry one on each side. He had the handles were treated with epoxy resin so they wouldn't warp or swell. You could run them through the dishwasher, it wouldn't hurt them any. But then I got other people that just put them in a little display case and don't do anything with them. So it's just up to the person.
Of course, there's a lot more than knives at the show. Rob Lee reporting for Channel 6 News.
Here in Houston, air traffic controllers say that they will strike, even though it's against the federal law to do so.
With the present contract package that the FAA apparently is stuck with, the controllers will definitely walk out on Monday morning.
Hoover says the controllers want $10,000 more a year, a shorter work week, and a better retirement plan, and point out that in their opinion, it won't exactly be the friendliest of skies if they're out on strike.
If they try to overload the system with the reduced workforce, there will be trouble. It will be dangerous. I would not fly under those conditions.
Major airlines like Eastern have backup plans to keep them flying. They'll cut their flights in half, do away with some short runs, but regardless of contingency plans, they expect to take a nosedive at the cash register.
Well, when you normally operate 1,600 flight segments a day and we'll be operating like 570, I got to tell you, yes, there would be some impact of loss of income to the company.
Experts say regional airlines like Southwest stand to lose the most during a strike.
It will result in elimination of 80% of our operations as long as the strike continues. In other words, we'll be operating only 20% of our normal flights per day.
To make sure you don't get left holding the bag or a worthless ticket, call your airline and make sure that they have a backup plan that can get you where you're going in the next few weeks. Frank Trainer, Eyewitness News.
An average of 100 planes take off and land every hour at Hobby Airport, but that number could be reduced significantly in the event of a strike. The FAA has established flight priorities, with emergency aircraft receiving first preference, followed by military and presidential trips. The number of commercial flights of more than 500 miles would be reduced, but still would have next priority. Flights of less than 500 miles would have even lower priority, followed by air taxis, charters, and private aviation.
You know, we will keep safety first, and we will work with the number of people that we have here. As more people work, or how many we show up, we have to adjust the traffic accordingly.
Because of their lower priority, charter and private planes can expect delays, according to Jenkins, but just how great depends upon how much traffic there is and how many controllers there are to handle it. Doug Ratz was one of the pilots at the meeting, and he sees some problems.
The air taxi side of it, if they can get a flight plan into the flight service station and get that flight approved, they'll be just like anybody else. The problem is going to be getting your flight plan in and getting it approved.
Hi, what's your name?
Craig Rankin.
Craig, what is today?
Father's Day.
Father's Day. What does it make you think about?
Care about my dad and love him.
Chris, you know what day today is?
Yes.
What day is it?
Father's Day.
When you think about Father's Day, what does it make you think about?
I don't know.
It's a pretty special day because it's your dad's special day. What do you have to say about your dad?
He's a great dad.
What did you get your dad for Father's Day?
This.
Craig, you having a pretty good day today?
Yes.
What do you like most about the day?
That's Father's Day.
What do you think about when you think about Father's Day?
Daddy's my father and we love him.
Where's your dad at?
Right there.
What do you think about that?
Oh, I think it's wonderful.
You having a pretty good Father's Day?
Great, really great.
Let me ask you something. Why is it such a good day? Dragging the river and sending divers to search for drowning victims has, unfortunately, according to nearby residents, become too common here in the Lakeview community.
24-year-old Dennis Pippin of Woodville drowned near here in May. This part of the Neches River is unpredictable.
The whirl from the current, it'll pull a suck hole here, possibly 12, 15 foot deep, and 4, 5, 6 hours later, where this suck hole located here on the sandbar, you can walk over that isn't going to place.
The assistant chief has been doing rescue work in this area 24 years and has almost pulled that many bodies from the water, 16. What can be done to stop the drownings at the popular Orange County spot that's privately owned? Chandler says the same thing that was done to stop the drownings at the Grimes sandbar a little ways down the river.
Mr. H.H. Hausman, he closed the place off, put up an iron fence and gate, and he had to prosecute 4, 5, 6 to get them to keep out of there. But now we don't have no more drownings down there. And that's what should be done up here.
We'll let you know if and when something is done about the dangerous situation. From the Lakeview community near Vida, Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
On January 18th, this new Jefferson County Airport terminal opened, and within the week following its opening, the airport manager's resignation went into effect. For the past 5 months, the new terminal has been managed by L.D. Farrow, Administrative Assistant to Commissioner's Court. Under that title, Mr. Farrow was appointed interim airport manager. But this morning, during the regularly scheduled Commissioner's Court meeting, commissioners announced that they would appoint a new Jefferson County airport manager. Following a closed-door executive meeting, Precinct 1 Commissioner Norman Troy kicked off the court's voting.
I nominate and recommend that we employ Mr. Robert S. Thomas.
Okay,
Who is currently in Killeen, Texas.
Okay. Is there a second? I'll second it.
Thomas is presently serving as airport manager at Killeen Airport. Shortly after commissioners officially appointed Mr. Thomas, Judge Richard LeBlanc was asked if he was confident that the newly appointed airport manager could increase air travel at the airport.
I'm not confident anyone can increase air travel out of Jefferson County, but I think that he can do a good job at attempting to do so.
This afternoon, Robert Thomas accepted the job as airport manager for the county. He will start work August 1st or sooner, it is hoped. Terry Elliott, Channel 6 News.
Time is running out here for Mayor Bernie Sadler and City Council members to come up with a decision on an election plan that will be both agreeable to the United States Justice Department in Washington, D.C., and citizens here in the city of Port Arthur who have waited for over 4 years to vote.
Of course, we're going to have to make a decision no later than Wednesday on this matter in order to give the staff an opportunity, or the legal department an opportunity to work up a plan and get it up to the court for Monday, the 29th of June. That's the deadline. And they have set down certain things, and the way I look at it right now, we are going to have a plan, according to them, that will more or less make it possible for at least three minorities could be elected to the council.
Do you think the Justice Department is being fair to the city of Port Arthur?
I don't think the law is fair at all, period. I think it's a very unfair law. And of course, the Justice Department is just trying to abide by the law. I think they've been over backwards, though, trying to push us on this thing.
The body of 13-year-old Jeffrey Hoke of Vida was pulled from the Neches River near the Lakeview community in Vida early this morning. The youth had gone swimming on a camping expedition Saturday. Precinct 4 Judge Pat Brown ruled death due to accidental drowning and did not order an autopsy. The youth is the second person to drown here in less than a month. The swift water currents change the position of the sand at will, thus creating underwater sinkholes that can move from place to place in a matter of hours. The sandbars along this section of the Neches have a history of numerous drownings. A 24-year veteran of rescue work says people should understand that this area is more than just a nice place to have a Sunday picnic.
I would classify this the most dangerous place in southeast Texas for outings.
As we reported yesterday, many of the searchers out here felt like the only way to cut down on the large amount of drownings here would be to block this area off. Well, today we talked with Mr. H.H. Hausman, who owns this property. Mr. Hausman says that's been tried before, and it hasn't worked. He said barricades have been put up and signs put up, but people just won't stay away. From the Lakeview Sandbar near Vida, Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
Instead of making a formal announcement of what the City of Port Arthur plans to do about its voting plan as originally scheduled for tomorrow morning, Mayor Bernie Sadler and legal experts from the cities of Port Arthur and Beaumont will now be taking a trip out of town. The city officials will be traveling to Washington, D.C., where they hope to have an audience with the United States Justice Department and possibly Judge Charles Ritchie, who was one of 3 judges responsible for striking down the city's 441 plan. Earlier today, I asked Mayor Sadler why the city now feels it necessary to take this trip.
We've had our day in court, and of course we lost this round, which is important. And now I think it's time to sit down with the people and see if we can't be reasonable and ask them to be reasonable, work out something that will meet the law, what they consider the law.
If officials from Port Arthur and the United States Justice Department can't get together and agree on an acceptable voting plan, the city does have one route of appeal. They could state their case to the highest court in the land, the United States Supreme Court. And city officials are expected to leave to go on their trip sometime later this week. Keith Elkins, Channel 6 News. Police investigations are often limited to statements from witnesses and photographs taken at the scene of a crime. And accusations of wrongdoing against the police department, once a suspect has been arrested and booked here in the city jail, are often restricted to audio recordings made from these microphones. This TV camera in the corner of the jail booking room is only used for surveillance. Although jailers constantly monitor TV sets, the camera doesn't actually record any pictures of what is taking place. That is soon to change, because today the Beaumont City Council approved the purchase of over $13,000 of videotape equipment. And as Captain Jack McCann explains, the new TV cameras and recorders will help the police department in its war against crime.
We see that it will help us in areas of training, crime scene photography, and in expanding the surveillance in our jails. And we just feel like this will really improve our ability. We already have video monitoring in the jail, but up until now we've had no way of recording it. Other cities have already gone to this, and I think this would make us comparable with the most advanced cities.
With the addition of this new video equipment, this camera will soon be replaced with one capable of recording pictures and sound. So if you are ever brought through these steel doors, remember to smile because you're on police candid camera. In Beaumont, Keith Elkins, Channel 6 News.
A tunnel in downtown Beaumont? Well, not actually, but a beautiful mural indeed. These Beaumont teenagers have for some time now been sweating under the hot sun at 795 Orleans to complete this wall-side painting. They were selected and hired by the Program for Human Services, which is funded by CETA. Al Gaytan, a local artist, designed the mural. You might be wondering how he came up with the idea.
I had a building that was facing other buildings, and then as the people came around, I wanted to stop them, but I didn't want to stop them with something, let me use the solid. So I came up with the thought of a bridge that you can still look underneath, look through the building, and you can see through it as you're coming by. The wall itself doesn't stop you. You just keep looking right through it.
Most of the teenagers work a full 40-hour week. 8 of the hours are spent in a career education class where the group learns about writing resumes, where the jobs are, and what to do when they find one. Even better, they're paid minimum wage for their efforts. We wanted to know what they've learned.
Paint better and talk with people better, get along with people better.
I think the best thing I got out of it is working with other people and think that you could do something better with making friends that go to different schools.
I learned how to get along with others, how to accept mistakes, and just mainly how to paint.
I learned how to paint good, and I learned how to, keep a steady head.
When the mural project is complete in about 2 weeks, it will stretch 146 feet, standing 20 feet high. Beaumonters will have something new to look at while driving by. Terry Elliott, Channel 6 News.
There's $225 per stop, which more than normal wireless supply. You see on of these, there's 10 total. 8 of these, if it's 60% or above. Now this again is on individual basis. This is the two 10th graders that took the test for the first time. They were either absent as 9th graders or they moved into Texas 8 from our neighborhood. We should have used a red pen or something blue or something and circled objective areas. I'll seek to field questions that you might have.
This is a story about involvement, to say the least. It's about being involved in a speech and hearing summer camp at Lamar that helps kids in our area with their problems.
The program here is designed to allow the hearing impaired children in our area to get together, have a good time, and have a language building experience, learn some things about how other people in other parts of the country live, and do all the things that other kids do in summer camp.
13 area school districts have sent kids from 2 to 18 to participate in camping trips, soccer, dancing, zoo trips, and other fun events with a hidden meaning.
Is to teach the children something without them realizing that they're learning, that they're just here to have a good time, basically. They're having a good time with your face today, Wayne, that's for sure. This little boy right here came to camp last week. He was pretty shy on the first day, but as you can see, he's
The program will last 2 weeks, and although it looks just like fun, instructors say it does get the job done.
Louise, when this is all over, do you really find it makes that big of a difference?
Often we do. We had one little boy who came in this year from East Texas. He was very shy when he came to camp, cried a lot, hung on to his counselor. And you can see by today, he's out ringleading the other kids, laughing, telling jokes. He's really a different little boy for this.
Lamar officials say the kids never forget the experience, and we won't either. Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
Fireworks stand operators outside the city of Beaumont were busy today preparing for the onslaught of those anxious to begin popping fireworks. Today was the first day that fireworks could legally be sold to the public. Fireworks are a big business. Everyone from young children to adults enjoy the miniature explosives. But every year, the improper use of fireworks leads to house fires or grass fires or possible injury to the person using them. So there are some things that both kids and adults should keep in mind.
Follow the exact manufacturer's instructions on how to display the fireworks. If there are any young people that are involved in using the fireworks or displaying the fireworks, they should at all times have adult supervision. This is very important because it will cut down on the possibility of serious injuries, especially to the eyes. This is where many of the injuries do occur, or even the possibilities of ignition of their clothing, and or maybe even ignition of structures nearby. They need to remain a safe distance from any type of structure or populated area when they are displaying fireworks.
Now for parents, remember that you're responsible for your child if they are caught with fireworks, and for property damage resulting from your children using fireworks improperly. The fine for using fireworks within the city limits of Beaumont can be substantial.
The fine, of course, is due to a misdemeanor type of offense, and of course it will be handled through the municipal court, and this is determined by the judge in the municipal court of how much actually they will be fined for their particular violation.
Okay, what could that be up to?
Could be up to $200 fine.
Terry Elliott, Channel 6 News.
Limits, and it is legal to sell them out there. It is.
This third public hearing on Southampton Refining Company's application for a waste discharge permit was scheduled to discuss phenol, a toxic chemical compound some residents feel is polluting a tributary that leads into Village Creek. But shortly after the meeting began, the discussion went from chemistry to law.
Today's testimony broke down when witnesses for the Village Creek Preservation Association tried to officially enter this report into the record. The report was a study of Southampton Refinery's sludge pools conducted by the District 6 Division of the Texas Department of Water Resources 2 years ago. But the lawyer for Southampton Refineries objected to allowing the study to be introduced as evidence because the investigator and District 6 director were not present to verify they had signed the report.
Apparently, the staff were unable to find them in their Austin file, so they haven't seen it prior to today.
The documents have been submitted, and persons who signed those documents were not here to verify the authenticity of those documents, and they are part of the permanent record, and they are part of the evidence that will be considered by the board and by you in your final recommendation, even though those people weren't here to verify those documents.
That's correct.
Document signed by Clarence Morantz, who's over the District 6 office, and what it deals with is the treatment lagoons or ponds that they have. Southampton gave testimony that these ponds were lined, clay lined, and we have documents indicating the contrary. And of course, this presents a problem because we could have seepage of pollution.
After a brief recess, the public hearing resumed, and witnesses for the Village Creek Preservation Association asked the hearing judge for a continuation of today's public hearing so they would have time to present their witnesses to verify the document.
I want there to be an investigation first and make certain that there is something that warrants a continuation of the hearing.
The citizens of Silsbee say they do have other alternatives that they will use, such as the EPA and possibly court if necessary. In Silsbee, Keith Elkins, Channel 6 News.